Hello there everybody, how's it going? It's Jessie from Jessie Marie Does Stuff here on FlossTube, back within the same week with another update video. So we're trying to get back on this regular filming schedule, so you can imagine that following up the big long one from last week, earlier this week really is by the time it posted, this one's going to be quite a bit shorter, so buckle up. We don't have very much to talk about, so it'll be over before you know it. Before I get into all the things that I would like to share with you today, welcome if you are a returning viewer as well as if you are a new viewer. Thank you for spending some time with me today, and I hope you find something you like and stick around. Today I am talking about cross-stitch and books. I have some things I have worked on, a couple of things, two precisely. I have some plans and a little bit of stash stuff. And then we are going to talk about the one book that I have read in the last probably 4 months, and my TBR, my to be read pile for the month of August. I wanted to talk about this last time because it was at the right time to do so, but nonetheless, we'll talk about it today. So that is what we have on the agenda for today. So before I really get started though, a couple of things. That video last I'm going to call it last week. I had so much to talk about that I feel like I missed a bunch of things that I really wanted to say. So two things stand out to me. The first is that I never inserted pictures of Raven Queen's skin close-up. Just right over my head. It was a 2-day editing process, and by the time I had gone past that section, I just totally forgot that I needed to take those pictures and insert them. So actually, it's probably already up. I'm probably going to post it before this video even goes live. Is check out the community tab on my channel. I'm going to put up a post with some close-up pictures so that you can see that, because I know that may be helpful just to see it in action. I thought about inserting it in here, and maybe I will, but I just feel like it's so disjointed having talked about that in the last video and then showing pictures here. It might just be easier to just go check out the community tab. So I might do both. I might post them here as well as in the community tab. So that is that. The other thing that I wanted to maybe spend some more time on was to talk about retreat. The New Jersey FlossTube retreat that I attended a couple weeks ago. I just didn't have the time to give that the space in the conversation that I really wanted to, but I just want to send out a thank you to Arlene and her team of helpers for putting on the New Jersey FlossTube retreat. It was my first real mom getaway, and getting to see stitchy friends, people who get me, people who literally just get me. It is impossible to describe how valuable I found that weekend. Absolutely invaluable. I got to talk with grown-ups about my favorite things, and they were giddy about the same stuff that I was. So I just really appreciate Arlene and the team. So thank y'all for all of your efforts. And to my table, let me go around the table. Directly to my left was Megan, Wide-Eyed Stitching Child. Then there was Jane and Jennifer and Carmen. Carmen, Broadway Stitcher. And then Lily at 42 Stitches, Amanda, Lazy Stitcher VT, my sister. We're not actually related, but whatever, we might as well be. And Ingabora Stitch Too Far. And y'all, if you're watching this, just huge hugs. I hated leaving, and it was just great to get to spend some time with y'all. Yeah. I kind of I snuck out at the end of retreat because I hate saying goodbye. I hate doing it. I don't like see you next year. I don't even like that. I just don't like saying goodbye. So I like to sneak out. I thought about getting up at the crack of dawn and leaving before anybody else was awake, but I thought that would be a little bit rude. So, yeah. I just have so many great memories from this retreat and New Jersey FlossTube retreats from years past, and looking forward to next year. Yeah. I'm also really looking forward to early November because I'm going to Stitching in the Springs in Ohio, and I am geeked for that. That's going to be a different vibe, but it's still going to be a blast, and I'm looking forward to it. It's just good. If you are able to get to a stitchy group, or a retreat, or, I mean, just get coffee with a stitchy friend, do it. It will fill your cup. It really will. So I just wanted to spend some time talking about that. I notoriously didn't take pictures. I'm in the moment. I'm just present, and I'm very bad about pulling out my phone and taking pictures. I think I took one picture of our stitchy table, and that was it. that was all the pictures I took for the whole trip. It's stored up here. So, okay, let's get in and let's talk about some stitchy stuff. So, we're going to start with whips, and this is going to be a really different way of starting with whips. I didn't end up stitching last Sunday. Between the editing and the filming and the nap that probably ensued, I just never ended up stitching. It never panned out, which is okay. It was okay to take a break and to focus on the video, and to hit the ground running on August 1st. So before I get into that, let me go over my July stats with you, because I love when people talk about their stats. So I'm going to share mine in case there's anybody out there who likes to hear this stuff. So I had 1 0 stitch day, July 31st. So, I mean, that's okay. 1 0 stitch day in amongst everything else. That's pretty fantastic. I had 2 page finishes, one on Snow Castle and one on Magic Study. Pretty cool. I had 2 new starts, Ragnarok and 'Tis the Season. And that brought me to 82 whips coming into the month of August, 82 works in progress. I did 14,732 stitches, which was a pretty good July for me. Pretty good-ish. Last July, 2021, was excellent. But this July was pretty good. And then probably the greatest stat line to come from last month is that I marked off 5 whip go blocks, which I think is fantastic. 4 of them came from my full coverage board, 1 of them from my main board, but I'm ecstatic about that. The goal was to try to play catch up on full coverage, and I did that. Not entirely, but got there. So that is that. And I would bring my whip go boards this time, but I showed them to you last time. So no need to be redundant. Okay, so when last we spoke, I told you that my first spin for Arbitrary August was Have Faith by Cottage Garden Samplings. And just really excited to get going with Arbitrary August, and I was going to work on this until the finish. And that is exactly what I did. I thought for sure that I would be finishing it today, either postponing the video until tomorrow or racing to get it finished before trying to film today. No. I finished this on Wednesday. This took 3 days to finish. So I'm going to insert a clip from last video of where it was last time. And then here she is, all finished. Ta-da! Look at that. Oh, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. The fabric here is a 32 count Belfast linen in vintage cedar plank from Lakeside Linens. And there's a whole host of things to talk about here. So the big one, family. Family is a much larger driving force in my life than perhaps a faith is. And since family wasn't represented anywhere in this 12-part series, I thought this is a good one for me to squeeze it in. I pulled the M, L, and Y from Simplicity, from one of the other blocks in the series. in order to do this, and some people have told me that they are inspired by this, in order to make this happen, you have to shift this bow down 2 stitches just to give some space here, just to give some space right there. And the easiest way to do that is just to take out 2 rows here. That's it. That's all you have to do. Just take out 2 rows in this long section of patterned stitching, and that will help shrink this down. So I made an error, and this section I started stitching 1 stitch too high. I went up 1 extra stitch. I counted off from here, and I either miscounted or I judged it from the wrong stitch. Something went awry. So all of this bow until here. No. Yeah, all of this bow, the whole thing, is 1 stitch too high. And so to accommodate for that, I took out a row in here to bring it all up. But that's some changes that I had to make. Hopefully you won't have to. I stitched this using the DMCs in the conversion that Vinny provides. So it's charted on Weeks Dye Works linen in Weeks Dye Works threads. And I chose the DMC route for this and the whole series. I'm doing the DMC for all of them. Let's see. On the chart, the capital letters on all of these is supposed to be filled in with this pretty gold color. I'm not doing that. I like the negative space for those Gothic letters. I love the lettering in this series. It's so beautiful. It is so beautiful. This I was worried about. I don't know why I was worried about it. It's like me in houses on samplers. I was just worried about how I was gonna do that, how I was gonna make that happen. And it was no problem at all. I really enjoyed the repetitive nature of it. And the way that I stitched it, it worked, and it was really a lot of fun. I did get a little bored. By the time I got 7 of these 10 upside down tulips done, I was like, I'm done now, right? But part of that might have also been just the excitement about getting a finish. All of these are 159 by 159, and coincidentally mine is 2 because this section is a stitch too high. So even though I had to take out a row down here, this section is a little high. So that's pretty cool. So I posted about this on Instagram, but this project kind of has quite a few memories put into it for me. In 2018, on December 31st, I filmed a whip parade. And I talked about the fact that I might start this before the clock struck midnight because I was planning on doing a no new starts in 2019. I ended up failing as about April, but that's neither here nor there. So I needed to start this before midnight, before the new year turned over. I did not have the chart in my hands. It was already released. I think it was on its way. I mean, literally on its way. I was doing, I had an auto ship with 3 Owl threads, and I'm pretty sure it was on its way. So I just kind of zoomed in on the image of what this looked like, and fortunately in that top corner is the first few stitches of the F there. So I zoomed in real close and tried to guess about how many stitches it would require just to put a few stitches in. And funnily enough, I was wrong, and I had to rip half of them out later on down the line once I got the chart in my hands. So I did those 7 stitches before I had the chart, and then this sat with 7 stitches in it for 2 years. I didn't pick it up until the summer of 2020. which is just interesting to me. 2020 or 2021? Maybe 21. But now I don't remember, but it doesn't even matter. And then I decided to, this year, so this is my second finish in this series, and I would like to do all 12. The last time that I finished one of these was in 2019. So I've got to get going. I've got to go a little bit faster than 2 every 3 years. If I ever hope to have all 12 done. So I decided to make them a focus for the year here in 2022. So this was the first one I had my sights set on. And I am thrilled with the finish. So here's something kind of interesting. In 2019, at the New Jersey FlossTube retreat, I spent a little bit of my time on Forever and Ever, the first in this series and the first one that I stitched. And then it was my first call for Arbitrary August, my first spin for Arbitrary August once I got home, and I worked on it until finished. And then I worked on this at the New Jersey FlossTube retreat this year, and it was my first spin for Arbitrary August shortly thereafter, and I worked on it until finished. What are the odds? I mean, really, what are the odds? And I had no idea. That was not a plan. You know, I'm all about that kind of thing. I didn't know this until I sought out my finish post for Forever and Ever, because I could not remember if I'd finished that in 2018 or 2019. And then I was reading through my posts about it, and I was like, wow, that's just wild. So there's something about me and stitching on one of these at New Jersey FlossTube that I guess just spells the ability to get it finished, which would explain the 2-year gap. I wasn't able to work on this the last 2 years at New Jersey. Who knew? My grandma's favorite birds were cardinals and blue jays. And so first I did Forever and Ever with the cardinals, and now I have the blue jay finished. And I think he turns out beautiful. I'm loving this. I'm loving this. So that is finish number 6 for 2022. It took me 30 stitching days. I think that's what I worked out. My tracking got weird and I was missing some data, some info. But I think it was 30 stitching days for this. These designs are surprisingly more stitch heavy than you might imagine. Like 159 square, it doesn't sound very big, but it's a lot of stitching. It's a lot of stitching. I put in over 8,000 stitches on this year. So anyway, very cool. Super excited to have it finished. I'm not entirely sure what my plan is for framing these, because like I said, I would like to do all 12. And so if the idea is to be able to swap them out every month. And so I feel like I need to get all 12 done before I get any of them framed, so that they can all be as close to the same kind of framing concept as possible. So 2 of 12 done. 10 to go. A 1/6 of the way. Yeah, ways to go. I finished up Have Faith on Wednesday, and I had my husband spin my Tiny Decisions Arbitrary August wheel, and it pulled a project that I'm so excited to get to work on it, and I'll show it to you here in a minute. I am so excited to get to work on it, but I guess I'm in a finish hangover, because I just don't have the energy to get the new project loaded up on my frame. I don't even want to. I cannot wait to stitch on it, but I also need to want to stitch on it, and I kind of just don't. So for the last couple of days, I've gone with Simple, and Simple is something that's already on the Q Snap, and to be totally honest, something on Pattern Keeper. And so I went with Full Coverage. My goal was to do a block a day on this project, and I hadn't yet. I mean, I was so laser focused on Have Faith that there was 0 time allotted for Personal Sunshine. So preview here of what this will look like finished. And this is where I am up to. So I have done the last 2 blocks in the previous diagonal and then the next diagonal. And this looks terrible. See, that's more lifelike. Just hold it like this. That's more what it looks like in real life. This is annoying. I watch a ton of full coverage stitchers on FlossTube and they don't have these issues. I think part of it is just how small of a space this is. The window is no more than 4 feet in front of me, and the wall is, I mean, I can back up into it no problem. So I think that might be part of the issue. But anyway. So yeah, so I'm working through this bunch of flowers here. You can see in this block down here that I have started on the red flower down here. I told y'all that that there was another red flower down here, and I've barely started that, so that's pretty cool. And I'm just working my way. I have 920 stitches left to the half page, and I think that I might just work on this until I get that accomplished. This stitches up fairly quickly. I mean, the flowers are a little bit of confetti, but it's not terrible. It's not too bad. And otherwise it's purpley background. So that goes pretty quick. So I think I might work on this until I get that half page goal. And then this will continue on as my block a day from there. I have, I think, 7 or 8 projects left to get to here in Arbitrary August, but I do have some wiggle room to be able to take a detour, if you will. So I guess you could say I have arbitrarily decided to deviate a little bit, which I do almost every year anyway. So that is that. I am currently at 18,516 stitches into this project. The total is a mere 106,000. It's really little for a full-size HAED. And that equates to 17.47% complete. My Stitch Pal app says that I will finish this in 2051, but something that's kind of important with Stitch Pal is that for me, I want to beat the computer by a lot. I'm starting to think about plans for 2023. And one of those plans is to try to finish this. I'm trying to get this to a point where I have a convenient 12 pages left. And then attempting to do a page a month next year. So we will see how that all shakes out. But that is the plan. The plan is to go for the finish on this next year. So that is where I'm up to with Personal Sunshine, and as I said, I'm going to keep working on this until I get to the half page. I guess having only 2 whips to work on really just gives me license to go on and on. Okay, so let's switch over into plans. This is going to be pretty quick, because it's Arbitrary August, and so for the most part, I don't know what's coming up next. I know that on Sunday I will work on Halloween Sampler by Cottage Garden Samplings. I didn't bring that to show you because I just showed it last time. And then my next draw for Arbitrary August lives in this gorgeous project bag by Ragtag Quilt Art. And it is the November quilt by Paula Vaughn from the Quilts for All Seasons book. My oldest whip. This is currently my oldest work in progress, and I have yet to work on it this year. I was supposed to, sorry for the zipper, I was supposed to focus on this once I finished August quilt, but I needed a break. And that break needs to end now if I have any hope of finishing this this year. So this is on a 32 count Belfast linen in cream from Zweigart, and there's some half stitch sky up here. So the quilt is done, and the wagon wheel is mostly done, if not done. I think it is done. I think I'm in the grass down there. So this next time I'll probably focus on the front of the wagon and a pumpkin. Get to stitch a pumpkin. Very cool. So that is what's coming up next. This was a past whip go call, and I'm going to give it the 3 days. It will stay on my arbitrary August wheel and maybe come up for the other 2 days later on, unless I finish 1,500 stitches in those 3 days, but we'll see how that shakes out. So that is coming up shortly here. I think Sunday I will start working on this. Let's get to some stashy goodness, because that's the end for plans. And the first thing is actually something that I had last week, but it went up on my shelf and I forgot about it. So, but I did see it while I was perusing for projects, and yeah, I was like, oh yeah, I need to show that. So this is a new project bag from Stitch and Button, and it is a pride bag. But what really got me with this was the diversity on this bag. This is not white bread LGBT pride. This is diversity. I mean, yeah. So I was really into this. This houses my Move Forward in Love Sal. And the inside fabric is this gorgeous rainbow print. Gorgeous. And then there's that Simply the Best needle minder from Capital Maker, like I told you. So I needed to show that. I love Stitch and Button bags. It is a dangerous thing, but I love her bags. So there is that. And then she's always texting me after I please a bag, and she's like, hey, do you want this accessory? Do you want that accessory? Would you like this accessory? I'm like, yeah, okay. Okay, one little thing. The latest in A Year in the Woods, the woodpecker from Cottage Garden Samplings. How cool is this? So cute. Love that series. I was on Stash Unload, as you do, and I saw this and I thought, that's really, really cool. So this is just a mounting board. I thought this might work for Blackwater Hollow, but I think Blackwater Hollow is a little bit too big for this. So I will find something to put on this, but it's tombstone shaped, and it's just distressed and just very cool. Very cool. Something cool will go on that. So thought I would pick that up. I know, Jessie talking about doing some finishing. And then another project bag because I am weak. This one coming from the Brass Button. Blue flowers. And when I picked this one up, first of all, it was random that I should be on Instagram and see that Jennifer was posting her bags right about then, at that exact moment. When I saw this, I thought, oh, that's so perfect for April by Anna Dittman, my HAED. First of all, Jennifer's bags are pretty big, so that's great for HAEDs. And then it arrived and I went, oh, the blue flower. Blue flower would be great in here too. But I'm going to put April in here because, like I said, big bags are great for HAEDs. And then her signature little button. And so there's that. She does her updates mid-month and end of month, and you kind of have to be there or lose out. That's kind of the situation. This got here so fast. I was really, really surprised. Like within 3 days. So yeah. Okay, 2 more things. I totally forgot, but I left myself a note here. A couple of Long Dog samplers. I'm loving Long Dog right now. And so the first is 1 down, 3 across. I actually picked that up before the New Jersey FlossTube retreat, and I thought about starting it while at retreat. But I figured 1 was probably enough. And then the other, so that was one of the most recent releases. And then the other is one that Jules kind of uploaded to her website and but like didn't tell anybody. Like she's being sneaky about it. You can find it in the other stuff section of her website, and it's called Cottywomple, and it's so cool. I mean, this thing is so cool. Her designs are just so imaginative and so fun. So yeah, I picked that up. Expo is coming up here in a couple of weeks, and I have done so much spending lately that that's a little dangerous. So we'll see. we'll see. Abby, Top Knot Stitcher, will probably be the first to know if I partake. Okay, let's switch over and let's talk about books really quickly. Just a few things to talk about with you there. So the first is a book that I have finished. Now, I actually listened to the audiobook of this book, but I felt the need to buy it in print so that I can reread it later on. So this is The Death of Vivek Oji by Akwaeke Emezi. Akwaeke Emezi, pronouns they, them, is a Nigerian author, and this is not their debut novel, but this one is a notable, and this is a beautiful, very little book. So it takes place in Nigeria, and it is a bit of a coming of age story, a little bit of a found family story, and it features, for me, the first book that I have read with a gender fluid main character. And so that was just fantastic. Some people compare this to A Little Life by Yanagihara. I have it on the shelf over there. I have another bookshelf over there. This is not as heavy as A Little Life is. I haven't read A Little Life. I've been advised not to. I would like to anyway. But this is not as heavy as, from what I understand, A Little Life is. It still deals with some issues. It's based in Nigeria, and that it's not a culture that is super accepting of gender fluidity and stepping outside of the heterosexual lifestyle. So it still has its heavy moments, but it is mostly about self-acceptance. And some characters in this book are a lot better at it than others. It's so good. It is so good. I highly recommend it to any adult readers. So I bought this print copy. I wanted to show you this from a new to me bookseller, and they are in California. Let me see if their address is not here. But they are in California, and they do ship. Obviously, I haven't been in California lately. And it is A Seat at the Table Books. Elk Grove. There you go. It's in Elk Grove. So they are a woman and queer owned and queer run bookshop. Fantastic. So that was a super easy one for me to be like, yes, I will buy from them. So that is their logo there. And then you get one of these bookmarks with every book that you buy. And on the back it says, "Smash the Kyriarchy." Because kyriarchy is easier to say than white supremacist, cis hetero, capitalist, imperialist, ableist, xenophobic, body-shaming patriarchy, which doesn't even cover all the social systems that keep power and oppression in place. Yes. So, like I said, super easy to send them some money and buy some books from them. It took a little while to get here, but I was not in any hurry. I've got a ton of books here. The books on my shelves down here, for the most part, are ones that I have not yet read. My owned print unread shelf on Goodreads is like somewhere around 190 books. So like I wasn't in a big hurry. So it was totally cool. It took a little while, but I'm good with it. So yeah, just have to recommend that bookseller. I will put their link in the description box below. Okay, let's talk about my TBR pile for August here. I have just 4 books. I'm trying to get back into reading more frequently. The Death of Vivek Oji was my 3rd book of this year, which is terrible. For somebody who has a history of being a reader, that's really terrible. So I have decided I've pretty much abandoned my bookish Whipco board because that wasn't serving me. It wasn't helping at all. I am doing a spell out each month. So I take the title or the author's first or last name to spell out the month itself. But I am totally allowing myself some repeats because, like, for instance, next month, September is what? 9 letters long. I'm not going to read 9 books next month. There's just no way. I'm not going to read 7 or 6 books this month. It's just outside of the realm of possibility for me. So I have 4 books here, and they will kind of double up to complete the word August. So for A, I have the reason that I read The Death of Vivek Oji. And it is this book called You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty by Akwaeke Emezi. So there is I don't follow a ton of bookstagrammers. And I certainly don't follow book TikTok or book talk. But there is one bookstagrammer that gets me all the time. She is responsible for so many of the books that I buy as of late. I'm not keeping up with new releases. I'm not aware of what is happening, generally speaking, in the bookish world. But she is so good at enabling me. And she read this book as an ARC before it was released. And the review that she gave of it, which was non-spoilery, I need that. So I pre-ordered it like months before it released. And this is featuring a main character who is Nigerian. Akwaeke Emezi is Nigerian as well. But the main character in this, Faye, is Nigerian descent, living in New York. She recently suffered a major romantic loss, like within the last 5 years or so. The love of her life has died, and we don't know really the circumstances of that. And so she's now 5 or 6 years later, she's finally kind of starting to think about pursuing romance again. And she throws herself into very casual relationships. She's not looking for deep love. She's looking for fun. She's looking for fun love, and she's looking to enjoy herself. She is an artist in New York City, and she has one of those best friends that we all kind of wish we had, just like a true ride or die kind of a girl. So Joy is the best friend, and she is either bisexual or she's a lesbian, but she historically and often gets into relationship with straight presenting women and has like side relationships with these married to men women. But she's a riot. She's got those great one-liners. I want a whole series about Joy and how she came to be who she is. This is good. It's really good so far. I'm barely into it, but it's not a very big book. I'm sure it's going to get a little deeper and a little heavier. Right now it's light and fun. Very first scene in this book is a smexy time. like in the bathroom at a party. Like it's great. It's just great. It's a lot of fun. And I am loving Akwaeke Emezi's range. Gosh, what did I get on this? Anyway, love it. So that is first thing on my TBR. I've been reading this for 2 months. And I am just really slow at reading these days. So hopefully this month will be it. Hopefully I can get that done. Okay, another book I've been reading forever. I'm actually listening to this on audiobook, and this is Unbowed by Wangari Maathai. And this is her memoir, the first African woman and the first environmentalist to win the Nobel Peace Prize. So this is her memoir. She is Kenyan. So I'm going to read you the back of this so that we get an idea of what this is about. In Unbowed, Nobel Prize winner Wangari Maathai recounts her extraordinary journey from her childhood in rural Kenya to the international stage. When she founded the Greenbelt movement in 1977, she began a renowned poor people's environmental effort that soon inspired the world. Having endured jailings, beatings, and personal losses, Maathai continued to plant trees and change lives, and worked successfully to save Kenya's forests and to restore democracy to her beloved country. It's fantastic so far. I'm hardly into it. She's still a child in the portion that I'm reading. I'll admit that I haven't picked this up in a minute, but I will get back to it very shortly. And yeah, just very cool. Very cool. Couple more things that I have on the TBR. I have Gideon the Ninth by Tamsyn Muir. Very excited to read about a necromancer. And Born Wicked by Jessica Spotswood. This is the oldest book on my TBR shelf that I haven't read. On my shelves that I haven't read. I've had this one the longest. And this is the Cahill Witch Chronicles, book number 1. So that is the TBR for August. And that is the books for now. And I really hope to pick up reading and to have more books to talk to you guys about as we go on. So I'm gonna head off here because this is much longer than I had anticipated it to be, and I've got to go put my kiddo down for nap. So I will head off here. Everybody, happy stitching, happy reading. As always, be kind, stay safe, and stay healthy. Thank you for supporting me and my channel, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, y'all.